Peace and love, fragrance family. Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be going over some fragrance clones that you should stay away from and some fragrance clones that might bring you some fun. Peace and love.
Everyone knows that I mess around. Surely that don't mean that you can't hold it down.
All right, fragrance family. Hope y'all been enjoying y'all weekend so far. I know I'm hitting y'all with these late vlogs back after back. Just keep subscribing. Mind your business. Keep subscribing. Let's get into it, fragrance family. So first on the list of clones that you might want to avoid is from the house, and this one kind of pains me because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Lately, I've been really falling in love with the house of Maison Alhambra. And this one is from the Maison Alhambra, and it's called Galacia. It's a recent pickup. I've gotten this cologne not long ago. And this is a cologne from the house of Maison Alhambra that you might can live without. I just don't think that this is, first of all, when we look at the notes of this fragrance and what it smells like, it's very masculine, but it's also very different. And there's one strong prominent note in here that makes it kind of off. And the most strong prominent note that you get up front is the leather. But not only do you get leather, you also get vetiver. So you get leather and vetiver. And it makes this fragrance a bit too animalic. And it's not listed that this fragrance has oud. At least I don't think I've seen it once I did the first initial review of this fragrance. But it does have an animalic smell of oud. But it's the cedar, vetiver, and leather that makes it extremely masculine. But there's also fruits in this fragrance. Just imagine that amalgamation of different fragrances. So you got fruit, you got leather, you got vetiver, and I think they had the nerve to put a little bit of patchouli in here as well, which just makes it a little bit too dry, too earthy, too rubber. It's almost like a rubber smell. It's just not really appealing to the masses. So I would say you could live without from the house of Maison Alhambra Galacia. And I believe that it is a Parfums de Marly Perseus clone. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. It's not extremely terrible, but it's just a very occasional fragrance, and it's not my cup of tea. What I would recommend instead of Galacia, if you want to still be unique and smell original, I think instead of going this route, you can also go from the house of Maison Alhambra, Jean Lo Fresh. And I think that this fragrance is more mass appealing. Not that you always need a fragrance that's mass appealing, but it does have some similar notes like the leather, the patchouli, the citrus, the ginger. I think there's also aldehydes in this one, and this one is a lot more pleasant. First thing you get up front is the leather mixing with some fruits, or citrus, and that kind of comes off as almost like an inky smell. Like think of leather and then think of fruits. So it's almost like an Inca cord, and you may say an Inca cord, but wow, what is that? But at the same time, it comes across pleasant. The beauty of this fragrance is in the dry down, and I'm gonna get it on my hand here. Good atomizer. And as I go through this video, the dry down is what really changes the altitude of this fragrance. It starts to really meld down into those fruits, that ginger and the aldehydic smell. And it starts to come a lot more alive, but you gotta like different. You can't like the same blue fragrance, the same creamy, same tobacco. It's different. Nobody's gonna be walking down the street smelling like this, Very pleasant to me. Again, and also it could be labeled a little bit more mass appealing, a lot more mass appealing than the Galia Chia. So that's my alternative for that fragrance. Up next on the list of a cologne you might can stay away from, and I might get a little bit of downers on this one, and it may be even a little contradicting to some of you, being the fact that I personally like this fragrance. But to be honest with you, the viewers, this is a fragrance you can definitely live without. And that is from the House of Fragrance World, Bearcat Rouge Aqua Stellar. And by all means, I do believe this is still a beautiful fragrance. But it does come across unisex, borderline a little feminine, and it's fresh, super duper fresh. But the florals make it a little bit more feminine. So if you don't want to be unisex wearing, first of all, if you don't like unisex, you're probably not gonna like those florals mixing with that citrus. It is very appealing to the most, but I think this is, again, like the last fragrance, this fragrance really shows off in the dry down. When you get more of the citrus, less of the florals. Doesn't last for a very long time either. It is a pleasant smelling and a pleasant opening. Good atomizer. But it's just that initially this fragrance is a little bit too unisex in some cases. That might not necessarily be the flavor that you may like, you know, as a masculine man. So I'm just putting that out there, just so you're aware before you pick up this one. You know, on the other hand, an alternative that I would give you from the House of Lattafa will be My Hair Legacy. If you like freshness, you like the fruits, then I think you should check out Lattafa My Hair Legacy, especially if you haven't had a chance to yet. It is a citrus, minty, fresh, aquatic, sexy clone and dupe of Parfums de Marly Sedley. And I think this one will get the job done for you in a more masculine and also more mass appealing way than the Fragrance World alternative. Super minty, super citrus, super juicy with that fruity grapefruit up front, and just the right amount of bitterness to counteract the sweetness with that mint. And yeah, very good alternative if you want to keep it fresh. Up next on the list for the fragrance clones that you shouldn't purchase, and this is by far the absolute worst of the worst, in my opinion, of fragrance clones that you should just completely ignore if you happen to come across it. And that is from the House of GP, I believe it's called. I don't even think this house has I don't even know if this is a house, but it's called Vintage Heroes. And I'm pretty sure you can see what it's trying to do. But again, as we get the smell out, it doesn't smell anything like Eros. It's nothing like Versace. It comes across as aquatic, which if you know and smell the actual Versace Eros, nothing about that fragrance is aquatic. It's sweet, it's apple, it's very playful. This come across as a mainly aquatic fragrance. I'm not even sure why it smells so aquatic and fresh. It's almost got like that Giorgio Armani freshness, and it's just one that you can stay away from and avoid completely because it is not even remotely close to what it's looking like it's cloning. So yeah, from the House of Vintage Heroes, stay away from this one. Up next is one that I would suggest, and that is from the House of Pascal Marabito, and we know it is Sea of Stars. And this is a beautiful, sweet juniper berry fragrance that you can actually go with and it smells good. It smells like a fresh, sweet, invigorating, it's on demand, mass appealing type of fragrance. You can't go wrong with Pascal Morabito Sea of Stars. I always like to say it has like a Dior flanker looking bottle. And this is just something that you can get passes with. It's a compliment puller, very sweet, but also it's like it pulls you in. It's very captivating with how it comes across with that juniper berry, that amber, honey, sweeter notes. And then you got the backdrop of some nice woods that fall through. It makes this one very sensual and sexy. The House of Pascal Morabito, Sea of Stars. That's gonna do it for tonight, family. Just some ideas of fragrance clones you can stay away from and fragrance clones that you can keep. Y'all been absolutely killing it. Borderline pushing 150 subscribers. I appreciate y'all for everything y'all do. Keep liking, keep following this channel. And yeah, we're on the way to the top, family. Peace and love.
Everyone knows that